Previously on the Crenshaw Corner.
I had to tell myself it's not about the movie, it's not about the show, it's about us being together.
It's not about the thing itself.
Yeah, it's about us being together.
Yeah, it's just about us having that connection for that moment, and us having that bonding experience for that moment.
Exactly.
That really has nothing to do with that particular property or that particular the song or the movie or the whatever. It's just it gives us a connection for that moment, and it gives us time to bond. One of the most awkward, beautiful moments
I think I know what you're about to talk
that
about.
we've had in the 22 years of being together. There was this point in time where all my beautiful wife did was get movie premiere tickets. I don't know how she did it, but like every movie
for like 2 years, we
paid for like 2 years straight, we never paid for movies.
Never.
She always ended up finding or getting or winning or obtaining movie premiere tickets. And during that season in her life, hello there, family.
What's up?
I didn't see you there.
What's up?
And welcome back to another edition of the Crenshaw Corner. I am your host, Sanchez Crenshaw, and as always, I am joined by the absolute best part of my day.
Who, me?
Oh, yeah, you.
Thank you.
The apple of my eye.
Yes, I am.
The wind beneath my wings.
Let them caress us up where we belong.
Oh, wow.
Where the
real
eagles fly.
That completes me.
I'm sorry. You cut my song off.
I sure did.
I was talking.
The real that completes me.
You're so completed. Completely completed.
The Olivia to my Elliot.
Ness? Elliot, like Elliot.
Actually, I'm not
Ness.
too mad about that particular saying because it is Elliot Ness.
Elliot Ness.
I'm actually surprised that you even know who Elliot Ness is.
Don't do that. I watched Untouchables, bro.
Okay.
Thank you.
But no,
about
it's not
6,
Elliot
7
Ness.
times. You know, I should watch that again. The
Actually,
old school one.
Yeah,
it's really a good movie. It is
Sean
a good
Connery
movie.
and
Sean
and Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Do you know my favorite line of the entire movie?
What's that?
My favorite line of the entire movie is when Sean Connery's character was talking to Elliot, and he was like, you know, they put one of yours in a hospital, you put 2 of theirs in a morgue. That's the Chicago way.
Really? That excites you?
It's just the way Sean Connery said it. Sean Connery could read the phone book.
Listen, Sean could do no wrong, y'all.
Kids, ask your parents what's a phone book if you're confused on that statement. But Sean Connery could read a phone book, and it was like, yo, I can listen to you do this all day.
Yeah, I can do it.
So back to what I was saying.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
The Olivia to my Elliot.
Yes.
You know?
So I'm very excited to say I don't know that.
Olivia Benson.
Okay. You be saying stuff like when you say the last name or the first name, it's going to really gel for me.
Elliot Stabler.
I'm back to Elliot Ness. Elliot Stabler. I know this name.
2 of the best written characters, duo. Only thing is, though, actually...
But why I'm making that noise?
I don't know. I kind of threw you off a little bit. They're not a couple. They're really good. They're really great friends. They work really well together, but they're not a couple.
No,
never have been.
Don't got it.
One of the longest running television shows in history.
It's The Simpsons.
Isn't
The Simpsons the longest running?
Actually, The Simpsons is the longest running.
So don't be giving me that
but
kind
of... But I said one of.
Okay.
It's a spinoff.
I don't know this.
It's a spinoff of a spinoff.
I don't know this people.
Law and Order SVU.
I never watched it.
How do you? But even people who've never watched SVU still know who Olivia Benson and Elliot Stabler are.
I don't believe you.
Wow.
I don't believe that's the truth.
Wow. I'm still thinking you're an alien. I don't really think you're human.
Listen,
I don't think you're from this earth.
I am of this earth, and I don't watch that. I don't watch it. And it's SVU. Doesn't SVU have Law and Order have 15 different segments like SVU, PTQ, MRS, MAB?
Well, it's been multiple different variations.
Okay.
But
ain't it coming back on?
Actually,
did I just say ain't?
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
you did.
Cool.
Actually,
make sure I said it right.
They are rebooting the original Law and Order. So it actually starts, depending on when you hear this, family, but February 24th. Actually, when the new,
my guy is up there.
Oh. Anthony Anderson?
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, they brought his character back.
Yeah, because he was up there for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I only know that by passing through stuff, but I don't know people's names. That's why I said
Stone, that was my dude.
What was his name?
Him back. Stone. Not
Stone.
No, not his.
Stone Cold Austin.
Stone.
Is that? No, it's wait. Isn't that it?
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. So we can end this segment of pop culture. Are you going to tell the people your name? Because somehow we just became a pop culture podcast.
Oh my God! What's his name again?
It's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So
Don't
what
do that.
So what did I say?
I don't know what you said. You said Steve Stone Cold. I don't know what you said.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cold Stone.
But
what's up, family? What is going on, guys? I am Angela Crenshaw, guys. What is going
that is on? My wife, family. That is my wife.
I am his wife.
Family, we welcome you.
Hello.
Welcome back to the program.
Come on now.
So for our new family members,
what's up?
Welcome
to the podcast.
Hey, you haven't done that in a while.
I want to say the same thing. Welcome to the podcast, guys. What's up?
So family,
yes.
For our new family members, however you're listening, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon Music, whether it's Google Podcasts, whether it's iHeartRadio, on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com. We thank you so much for listening.
Yes, we do.
And for our returning family members,
what's up, returners?
You already know how we feel about
what's
you.
What's going on?
So for our returning family members,
Love
thank you for listening. Thank you for continuously listening to the Crenshaws. Thank you for telling your family about us. Thank you for telling your friend, your coworkers, the stranger at your local Starbucks. We thank you for spreading the word of the Crenshaw Corner. We thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, first time listeners, listen, we love you as well. And you probably saying like, well, how can I become a returner? How can I become family? The moment you listen, you're family.
That's all it took.
The moment you turn and listen to us again, you're a returner.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. It don't take much. And once you do that, give my grandmama macaroni and cheese recipe. Now, here's a funny thing. We say that all the time,
and somebody actually asked for it.
And somebody actually asked.
They're waiting for it. So you got to be careful what you say.
So I actually asked for it. I was like, okay, so can I get your grandmama macaroni and cheese recipe? I'm waiting.
I'm just saying.
I was like, ooh.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Al Gore's internet. Ooh. You have to be real careful what you say on Al Gore's internet.
You do have to be careful what you say.
Because people actually listen.
They do.
And they'll hold you to it.
And it's sad.
So, hey, you don't want to keep saying it, though.
It is. I'm going to send it to her. I'm going to give her my grandma's macaroni.
I did what I was supposed to do, remember? Because we said we send people a book, who moved their cheese. They actually reached out to us. We actually sent out copies of that. See, I do what I say I'm going to do.
Wow.
But you out
here that's what you're doing?
Talking about grandma. And see, here's the crazy part. I'm going to pull the curtain back.
Pull the curtain.
I'm going to pull the curtain back.
Pull the curtain.
You don't even cook.
I do cook.
You a fixer.
No. I am a fixer. We already established this months last year.
You have to cook to make grandma's
but
macaroni and cheese.
I can make grandma macaroni and cheese. Don't play with me, boy. Don't play with me. I just prefer to fix, not cook.
See,
it's a preference.
Here's how I know that you don't even know what you're doing in there.
What's that?
Because you be using that Kraft cheese. You don't be using that government cheese like grandma used to use.
Grandma,
that government cheese in Velveeta.
America, I almost lost my voice on that one. America. If anybody find
that block
government cheese
with a little bit of Velveeta,
listen to me, call me, reach out, DM, anything you need to do, social media, let us know, because that's the real deal. That's the real deal.
That was a great segue, though. Speaking of social media, we consider ourselves an interactive podcast.
We are.
Which means we can be found on the socials.
Yes.
We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, all in the Crenshaw Corner.
Yes.
And of course, you can email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com.
Come on now.
Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. And family, before we continue into the next segment, welcome to the cookout.
Yes.
Make sure you bring some aluminum foil so you can what, babe?
Take some with you. A Crenshaw nugget, a gem, a different perspective, an aha moment. But it's going to be all good. But you got to have the aluminum foil. Because aluminum, the aluminum.
It marinates better.
The aluminum make
That's
everything marinate. The aluminum make everything marinate better.
Aluminium.
Put in the refrigerator. Then you think about it, pull it back out, and you taste it. Don't it taste better the second day? Come on, somebody.
With that aluminium. Now, before we get into the actual
Lord, you
meat,
got something to say.
I do. Before we get into the meat of this particular podcast, because once again, family, I'll be honest, I have no idea what we're talking about. We don't discuss these type things before we turn on the microphone.
Okay.
I know there's a topic. I'm just not sure what the topic is. I'm pretty sure my wonderful, beautiful chocolate wife will enlighten me in just a moment.
Come on, chocolate. But I'm like a sea salt chocolate.
Okay, let's go with that. Yeah, because you can be a little salty sometimes.
I knew you was gonna say.
So yeah, I can see that.
I was gonna say something slick.
I can see that.
I just wanted because that's our favorite candy, but you always out here.
Nah, just because you like.
No, that wasn't the reason why I was saying it because it was our favorite candy, bro. Nah, you always messing something up, bro.
You like your mama. You a little salty sometimes. Is all I'm saying. But
hope she ain't listening.
Hey, mommy don't listen. Mommy don't listen.
Mommy don't listen.
Mommy don't listen.
Mommy don't be listening.
But I do want to say one quick thing. I do want a quick 30-second
no, I don't got
venting
it.
session.
I don't. What we venting
quick
about?
Rant.
Why we venting? Why we ranting?
Dear Mr. COVID.
Oh my God, not dear.
Here's an open letter to Dear Mr. COVID.
Can we? I don't think we can say COVID.
We can't. Why we can't say COVID?
I think we have to say stuff like the vid.
The vid.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can say COVID.
First of all,
Dear Mr. Vid.
First of all, I'm not 90. I don't feel like if you don't say the disease, that means it won't happen.
No, I think it has something to do with the airways that you can't. That's why people don't say it anymore.
Okay, well, the thing that took over the world,
Mr. Vid.
Mr. Vid.
Mr. Vid.
Here's an open letter to Mr. Vid. Dear Mr. Vid, how dare you come uninvited into my home? Put your feet up on my couch.
Wow.
Drink my Kool-Aid and don't replace it. Ate my last donut.
Come on.
And then on your way out, give me asthma. How dare you, Mr. Vid?
Mr. Vid.
So family, just real quick, for those who are unaware, I think we've talked about it before, but unfortunately, after 2.5 years of navigating this world, navigating and ducking and dodging and chilling,
just all the right supplements.
My beautiful wife and I managed to avoid Mr. Vid until about 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And here come that dancing variation of it. And there we go. That dancing variation. That Omarion.
You can't say that either, bro. Just say O.
You can't say Omarion?
I don't think you can say that either.
That's a person. No, Omarion is a person.
I think they know. Just dancing O.
Okay, the dancing O. Whatever. Dancing O. Look, Algo's internet. You're going to be okay. But he came, he saw, he conquered for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then for me, family, what happened is my wife is better. She's doing well. She still has kind of a lagging cough, a little bit of congestion, but we think that's more of her allergies than anything else.
Absolutely.
But for me, I still got a nagging cough. I got congestion. And then all of a sudden, I'm shortness of breath.
Yeah.
So for about 2 weeks now, it only takes me walking from the bedroom to the bathroom, which is less than 10 feet, and I get winded.
And let's just say this, people. Also, what he went through is because he didn't want to listen to his amazing, incredible,
Here we go.
The wind beneath his wings, the apple of his eye, the rib that complete him. He didn't want to listen to me when I said, hey, let's go to the doctor because this don't seem right.
Yeah.
It don't seem right.
I was like, it's all right. You know, I'm a little overweight. I done got somewhat back in the gym, so I figured it's just the fatness in me.
The what?
I figured it was just the fatness in me.
Cool.
That was preventing me from breathing properly.
I don't think that's what happens, baby.
I thought maybe my cardio wasn't up to where it should be. You know, I don't get on the elliptical as much as I used to.
You was on the elliptical.
I loved it. I have a love-hate relationship with the elliptical. I have a love-hate relationship.
Can we say elliptical?
I hope we can say elliptical.
I'm only messing with
on
you.
the Algo's internet.
I'm only bothering you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So it went on and it went on, and finally my wife was like, okay, either you go, you got two choices. You either go to urgent care or you go to the morgue. Yeah. I mean, it's either one, but
because I'm not doing this no more. But something's gonna happen, okay?
So needless to say, she made me an appointment for urgent care.
Yeah, because I don't trust him. So I made him an appointment and said, be there or be square.
Yeah. So I get there, they do their test, they look at me.
That was cheesy.
It really was. I wasn't going to say nothing. And then it turns out after 44 years of living, I have asthma.
Totally congested.
Totally
wheezing the whole nine. They first thought he had the vid pneumonia.
Yeah, they thought I had to.
But God is faithful.
Yeah, but
he didn't have that.
after they did the x-rays and everything, that came back negative. So I do not have the vid pneumonia. Pneumonia, But it turns now because of the vid, now I got asthma. Now I'm on an asthma pump and a breathing treatment, which is crazy. So that's my open letter to Mr. Vid. How dare you violate my home?
Yeah.
Put your feet up on my couch, your dirty feet up on my couch, and then wiped your feet before you came in.
Right.
And then left me with a go-away present.
Well, here's what I want to ask Mr. Vid, okay?
What's up, baby?
Seriously. How did you get here? Nobody supposed to be here.
You gonna get
Nobody
sued
supposed to be here.
and copywritten. The Crenshaw Corner does not own the rights to that song.
All the vocals.
You know,
we don't
own the rights to the vocals.
Just need to know. Song. We did all the right things.
We did.
We really did.
We wasn't going out in public like that. When we did, we had on our masks. We was taking all the supplements. You had me drinking seawater.
It's sea moss. Thank you.
It was dishwater.
Sea moss, thank you very much.
But anyway, that was just a quick update on the Crenshaws and where they are and where they stand.
Where are we?
Because we 55 minutes into this particular podcast.
We are not 55 minutes in here.
My wife just been rambling.
Oh, wow. I've said nothing.
So I'm going to need you to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay, so one of our mentors, one of our first mentors, still our marriage mentors, but one of our first mentors sent me something, babe. Well, I showed you what she said, but we didn't discuss it.
No, we didn't discuss it, but yeah, you showed it to me.
And I just wanted to see what you thought about it. That's why I didn't discuss it with you.
Okay.
The title is called The One Ingredient Every Couple Needs for a Lasting Relationship. And this is a marriage counselor who wrote this. And I'm just going to read this little blurb here. It says, there's a lot of qualities that typically get attention when talking about what makes a healthy relationship or healthy marriage. Trust, absolutely.
Of course.
Honesty, absolutely. And communication tend to be the big ones, right?
Yeah. When you hear anybody talk about marriage or marriage counseling, that's typically what they talk about.
You
trust,
have to
communication,
love each other, trust.
Yeah, that's typically what they talk about.
But she said, according to her, there's one quality that's fully necessary for a relationship to thrive that people really talk about, and that's intentionality. Now, we've talked about being intentional before. We haven't went in full depth about it, but she was just saying that intentionality, and it says intentional means doing the mental work, aka planning, basically is what she's saying.
Right.
Look intentional up, baby, because you like looking up everything. What you get. So it's, again, she says intentional means doing the mental work, aka planning. And I know that we talking about being intentional in the bedroom and planning it, like putting it on the calendar. When we did that one after dark, folk went crazy.
Okay.
Oh my God, there's no spontaneity. Yeah. Who is doing that? Whatever.
All right, so real quick, you ain't gonna hit me with the read.
Read.
There you go. So intentionality. Yeah, it's an adjective. Done on purpose, deliberate is what it says. Is what intentionality is.
I like what she says, doing the mental work, because I think that you have to be in your mind.
I'm sorry. First of all, I am so wrong. That's intentional.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the. Forgive me, family. It's my asthma. It's my asthma.
What? Because I wanted to know what intentional means.
That's intentional.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, no, it's intentional. Intentional is an adjective. It's done on purpose, deliberate.
Yeah. And I like her version of doing the mental work, aka the planning and the mental work, because it takes mental work to be intentional.
Yeah.
It really, really does. What's your thought about being intentional in your marriage? What's your thoughts?
I think, even if you take the top three. So if you take love, if you take honesty, and you take communication, unless you're intentional, I think the foundation of those three isn't being intentional, because I can have an honest conversation with you and it still not be intentional. Right. I'm just going along with the flow.
Right.
I'm just giving you enough to get through this particular conversation.
Right.
Not necessarily trying to get through a breakthrough, not necessarily trying to grow, not necessarily trying to move our relationship forward.
Move the needle.
I'm still having a quote unquote honest conversation because I'm not lying. I'm not hiding anything from you. I'm just not moving the needle to move forward.
Right.
The same way with honesty, the same way with love. I can love you every day, but love becomes stagnant after a while. It doesn't mean I love you more, doesn't mean I love you less. I kind of just love you the same. I love you.
Right.
So I think I believe for a truly effective marriage, it has to be intentional. It's one thing that you and I always say, and I had this conversation just recently with a gentleman. He's recently married, and we were talking about choice and choosing.
Right.
Every day I wake up, I have to choose to be a husband.
Or deaf.
Every day I wake. Can I finish my thought?
I'm sorry.
Please?
Carry on. I didn't know you heard that.
I did.
I was talking to the family.
They heard it too.
Okay, because that's what I wanted to hear. But go ahead.
They had her too. But I have to choose. I have to choose to love you. I have to choose to like you. I have to choose to want to be in this marriage. I have to choose.
Right.
Every day is a choice. The same with you.
Right.
Every day you wake up, you have to choose to want to be married. You have to choose to love me. You have to choose to want to work in this marriage. And every day that choice is an intentional choice. And I think a lot of marriages fail because they're not intentional about their marriage. They're going through the day-to-day. They're going through the mundane. They want to be married. They like the idea of marriage. They don't necessarily like the work of marriage.
Nobody likes to work, which is crazy, but because we tell so many people marriage is work and they be like, it's a foreign language to them. But anyway.
Good, because the one thing I think for us, how we were able to learn that concept so early on in our marriage is that early on in our marriage, God blessed us with decades marriages. Yeah, absolutely. We were surrounded by the full gambit. Yeah, we had people that had been married, because when we first. The person that sent you them, when we first found them, they found us.
They found us. Thank y'all.
So glad they found us.
We love the Slades, but go ahead.
We were like 2 years into our marriage. Yeah. 2 or 3, no more than 3 years into our marriage.
About that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Slades.
And at that time, we had the Slades who were like 20-something years into their marriage at that time.
Yeah.
We had couples that were 10 years into their marriage, 15 years into their marriage. We had couples that were newlyweds. Yeah. We had couples that had just been married as long as we were. So I think
we even had one that was like 25 going towards 30.
Yeah. Like 25. Yeah. Like 30-something years into a marriage. Yeah. And so, and the one common thread between, especially the 10, 15, 20, 30 year marriages, the one thing they would always say is that it's work.
It's work.
But like you said, nobody likes talking about that. Right. But even with that work, it still boils down to being intentional. Yeah. Because anything in life you do, if you really want it to be successful, you have to put in the mental work. You have to be intentional about it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a picture person. You know that. I always like painting pictures. Right. And I love using metaphors and analogies. And no matter how you feel about this person, as a player, as a person, about the league in general, how it is now, the one thing you can't take away from them is their greatness. And I'm talking about LeBron James.
I knew you were.
Yeah. I'm talking about how a 19-year career at 30, I believe LeBron just turned 36, maybe 37 years old, who has pretty much throughout his entire career has played, because let's say he's played 19 seasons, right? But in minutes wise, LeBron has played like 30-something seasons as far as minutes wise, because all the Olympics he's been in, all the playoffs he's been in, all the playoff series, he's played like. Family, I'm so sorry about that. I'll take that out in post. You won't even know what happened.
You won't even know.
But he's played like 30-something. He's played like 30-something years if you look at minutes. But the thing is, how in year 19 is he still able to do the things that he was able to do in year 12, in year 8, in year 9? Yeah. The one thing about LeBron is that he always talks about he was very intentional about how he did his body. One of the things that LeBron does is that outside of everything else, LeBron spends like I think it's like $1.5, maybe $2 million a year on just his body alone.
Wow.
On his health, on making sure that, and unfortunately Father Time has caught up with him now because Father Time wins, and he's having a lot more injuries now. But that happened in year 18, 19 of his career. Right. But he was from the beginning of his career, he said he was going to be intentional about how he kept himself, how he did his body, what he put in his body. Right. The treatments he did. And so like he said, he spends like $1.5, maybe $2 million a year on just his body alone, which helped him maintain and be as great as he is. Right. That's what you have to do in your marriage. You have to go into your marriage saying, I'm going to be intentional and I have to do whatever it takes
to make sure that we're able to maintain year 19 as we did in year 7.
Yeah.
Or we're able to maintain in year 20 or 22 and still be going just as strong as we were in year 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I think too, just coming back from relationships, but when you were talking about LeBron, and they're talking about, of course, relationships between spouses and people who are about to get married, and they talk about relationships, but you have to be intentional, like he said, about the relationship you have with yourself.
Right.
Because that's basically what he was doing. He was like, I'm gonna be intentional of what kind of relationship do I have with me and my health, or me and my mind, or me. And I think some people need to understand that too. For single people as well, how intentional you are within the relationship with yourself, right? Because that's so important. Before we can bring anybody on board, you need to have your own relationship and what your intentions are to yourself, so you'll be able to tell other people what you want, right? Yeah. In a relationship, when you were talking about communication or having a discussion, you go in with the intent to listen to each other, right? And to be able to communicate and maybe not find a solution, but not hit surface level, but hit real levels.
Yeah.
So that takes some planning, even for us, when people know they laugh at us all the time. In order for us to do our finances, I have to be intentional and plan it properly of 15 minutes or 16 minutes. That's all the time.
I give you 30 now because you got mad at me for talking about I was cutting you short.
Yeah, you were cutting me short. So be intentional that we discuss it and say, okay, 30 minutes is what we're going to have. This is our intentions. This is what we're going to discuss, and this is what we're going to do. Because if you don't, then you're all over the place, and one person is going to get lost or one person is going to leave.
Right.
The same thing when you're trying to lose weight. People have intention. Their intentions is to lose weight, so they be intentional by meal prepping and planning. And I think a lot of times people don't understand that we have to do that in our marriage. We have to plan date nights, right? We may have to plan, whether you like it or not, sex nights.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may have to plan real conversations where you both are not in it to win it, but in it to listen. And that's what she was talking about, just being really, really intentional about what you do in your relationship and in your marriage. And I think that sometimes we just want to hear each other speak, hurry up and say what you need to say, and go ahead about your business, versus having intentional about it. So I think that, because it says, that might include proactively having a conversation of how the two of you approach conflict. For example, it might look like taking the time to cultivate a culture of more appreciation and goodwill. And I thought that was really, really good. Like being intentional of showing appreciation. Yeah. Because sometimes we can take each other for granted.
I think all the time.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I think all the time.
Trying to get some people the benefit of some type
it's all
of
the
doubt.
time. It's more times than not. Couple of things real quick though. I just want to touch on a couple of quick things before you continue to move on. Just a little tip for the ladies. Stop the "we need to talk" text. Stop that. Stop doing that.
That's a scary text?
Stop that.
That's a scary text.
Schedule the conversation.
Yeah, schedule it.
Let the person know what the topic is going to be.
What your intentions is.
What your intentions are. But just stop the "we need to talk" and nothing else behind that. Stop that.
So what happens when I used to do that to you?
My stomach dropped. I felt like I was back in school and they said they didn't call my mama. That's exactly what happened.
Really? Are you serious?
Dead serious.
So all from me saying, babe, we need to talk.
Dead serious. Stomach dropped, blood pressure high, insulin then dropped. I need a candy bar.
I can't stand you right now.
Because I feel like I'm in school and they said we didn't call your mama. And now I got to get through the rest of the day waiting to get home to see what she got to say. Yeah. No, stop doing that. Stop doing that.
I will say for guys too, don't do that. And I'm gonna tell you why. When you would do that, I automatically go to the kids, because you don't give me the "we need to talk" conversation.
Right.
So when you give it to me, it's like, okay, who done did? Like my heart would drop too, and it would be like, oh my god.
Yeah, stop that. Just stop that.
What?
Schedule.
What did they do? Like I would even ask you, which kid is it?
Yeah, schedule the conversation.
Yeah, schedule the conversation.
Let the person know what the topic is. You don't necessarily have to have the whole conversation right then, but just give them a quick synopsis. Give them a 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah.
On what's going on.
Yeah.
Common courtesy here, ladies.
Yeah. And
common courtesy.
And like she said, it would be an intentional conversation where you're not trying to be right or wrong, but your intentions are good to find out how can we have a solution, if we can find one.
Right.
what can we do to make our communication better? What can we do? Because I think those things also help. Because there's no way that we should feel that we work in the corporate America and they'll have these meetings. Let's get together. Let's look at the stats and see how can we make this better. And you can sit in a 2-hour meeting on how things could be better, but not be able to sit in a 20-minute, 30-minute meeting that's intentional to make your marriage better, right?
I give you one better.
Okay, cool.
I give you one better.
Give it to me. Give it to me, Gabe.
Your boss comes to you on a Monday and says, by Friday, I need a complete strategy on how you're going to change A, B, C, or D within your section, within your department, within your whatever you're over. And you're able to sit down and you're able to strategize. You're able to look. You're able to look at historical data. You're able to run the numbers. You're able to put together a 10-deck PowerPoint to present to your boss on that Friday.
Right.
However, you're not able to sit down and have a conversation with your spouse about how to improve your marriage.
Right.
There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
You're not able to sit down and strategize and look at historical data when it comes to your marriage and what works with your spouse and what doesn't work for your spouse, what conversations work, what tones work, what love languages work.
Right.
You're not able to sit down and look and see how can we improve our marriage, but you're able to look and see how to improve those customer service numbers.
Right. I think sometimes when it comes to when things like that is because working is not so personal as the relationship. And so if your boss tell you wrong or whatever, your feelings will be hurt. But if your spouse tell you wrong or your marriage is not working, you know what I'm saying? You feel some type of way.
I get that. But I get that. But also that same effort that you put into that PowerPoint is that same effort. You should never in any situation and I'm talking to myself because I'm guilty of this. So I'm not being a hypocrite.
Right.
Because I've had to check myself on this same thing more than once and recently. So it's not like I'm talking out the side of my neck or something I don't know about. But you should never put more effort into corporate America or put more effort into your business or put more effort into something that belongs to somebody else than you do your marriage.
Even if you're an entrepreneur, same thing.
Even if
it's your business.
Even if that business is your baby, it's something you created, it's something God gave to you. Even with that, he also gave you that spouse.
Exactly.
So you should never put more energy into that spouse it's one thing people love to say, give me that same energy.
Yeah, keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy.
When you get home, I need that same energy.
Keep that same energy. So
because if I see you kiki-cat-cat-ing and you on the phone at work and you get hit to my, hey, we're going to have a problem. I need that same kiki-cat-cat when you get to this house.
But also one thing that you had touched on a little bit ago that I want to kind of circle back to. A lot of the times what happens when we're having these conversations, because we're geared towards married couples.
Yeah.
We're being honest. That's what we're geared towards. That's who our core audience is. That's who we're trying to reach. But with that being said, we love our singles as well.
Yeah.
We love our singles. We love our fiancés, our girlfriends, our boyfriends. Yeah. We love them too. So what we try to do, even though the general conversation is more towards marriages, we still every once in a while try to have a conversation as well geared towards for our single people, for our girlfriends, for our boyfriends, for our fiancés, so on and so forth. So one thing that you touched on when you were talking to our single family is that, like yourself, it's two things that you beautiful. You're very intelligent. You're sexy and intelligent.
Thank you.
It's a lot of nuggets that you have given me over the years that I use in conversations when I have with people.
Yes, sir.
And it's two that come to mind right now. You used to always say to ladies, and this goes for men as well, when you're single and you're looking to date, would you date you? In the current state that you're in,
right?
Would you date you?
Yeah.
And then there was another thing you used to say, you used to talk about owner's manuals. Because anytime you buy any product, I don't care what it is,
even if it's not in your language, they put it in there.
It is an owner's manual or an instruction manual or care instructions on how to care for the
tag. It's something
on how to care for a product.
Right, exactly.
So what happens is a lot of the times we go into relationships not knowing what our care instructions are, not knowing what's in our manual, not knowing what works for us, what doesn't work for us. And then so we're in this relationship. We haven't given a person a manual. We haven't talked about our care instructions. And when things go wrong, we're trying to figure out, well, why didn't they know? Well, why didn't they know I didn't like that? Or why didn't they know I don't like being talked to that way? Because you've never had a conversation, because a lot of the times you don't even know how you want to be cared for.
Because it's so good to have intentional conversations, like you said, about tell me what you like and what you don't like. That's intentional. Let's plan a dinner. and let's go out and let's talk about our dreams and our aspirations.
Right.
Like, not just the kids, but our dreams and our aspirations. But what I do think that happens, what she was saying, is that you have to, be intentional about appreciating and also goodwill to your significant. Why I can't say that word? Significant other, right? And I thought that was so amazing because that has to be planned sometimes. Sometimes it can be spontaneous, but sometimes it needs to be planned and have good intentions and be intentional of telling your spouse that you appreciate them, and not just by word, by doing and by good deeds as well. Right. Let them know, hey, I appreciate you, I love you. Doing something special, because that's what she was talking about, and doing goodwill things for them as well. And I think sometimes because we've been married, been in a relationship for so long, we have the mindset of, he know I love him,
right?
She know I love him. It don't take all that, right? They know I'm grateful. It don't take all that, but thank you is huge. Those two words are huge. And I remember having some debates with a couple of young ladies, and it was like, you need to tell your husband thank you for that. For what? We live in the same house. He eats just like I eat. He did, and I'm like, no, it don't work that way. Thank you goes a long way. Yes, he does live in a house, and yes, he does turn on the light. But sometimes you have to tell people thank you for what they do. Yeah. And so that's why I didn't like when you work at a job where they'd be like, we be like, y'all don't say thank you if your paycheck ain't enough. You'd be like, whoa. No,
I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of that.
It's not enough.
I've been guilty of that.
It's kind to say thank you. And I think the same thing is having the intent or planning things, whether it be put a love letter in your spouse's jacket pocket and they find it one day, it may not be the same day, or writing them a note and putting it somewhere, or putting a note or buying them their favorite candy or whatever, just to say I appreciate you and I love you. That's what she's saying, like, be intentional in those areas for your marriage and for your relationship.
What's amazing to me, now that you talked about that, mm-hmm. What's amazing to me is, as children in school, I don't care where you went to school, whether it was the East, South, Northwest, there were certain things.
Not the East, South, Northwest.
East, South, Northwest. There were certain things you were taught. Mm-hmm. You were taught to say please, mm-hmm. and you were taught to say thank you.
Yeah.
As parents, we teach our children, mm-hmm. you better say please, and you better say thank you.
Yes.
However, as we become adults, we seem to, even though we're teaching our kids to say please and thank you,
we're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. We don't think our spouse is good enough to say please and thank you to.
Yeah.
We're real good about barking out orders, though. We're real good about, well, go get me this, or go get me that, or
I've been guilty
bring
of that.
me this, or bring me that, or
yes, you're right,
or go to the store.
Mm-hmm.
But we forget that we're still dealing with human beings. We're still dealing with people with feelings. We're still dealing with people with emotions who I am really big on a simple concept. Mm-hmm. It's 2 words. Mm-hmm. Common courtesy. I am such a huge, I don't think
people know about that anymore.
I don't think they do. Just common courtesy.
Even in your, I think sometimes we got to remember, like you said, our spouses are human. So even common courtesy to your spouse. Why is that foreign?
Why is it such a big deal? Mm-hmm. If your spouse goes into the kitchen, mm-hmm. does the dishes, mm-hmm. clean the entire kitchen, mm-hmm. what's wrong with saying, thank you.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for doing the dishes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Male or female.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because guys, guess what? It's not just the woman's job to clean the kitchen.
Right.
It's not just the woman's job to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. I don't care that you work 13 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Guess what? She did too. Okay. She did something that day. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Yeah. It's not just on her.
Right.
And ladies, it's not just on your dude to clean the car or cut the grass. Mm-hmm. It's not just on one person to do that. So
don't get stuck on gender roles.
Yeah, don't. And go back and listen to that episode of gender roles.
We actually did
episode of gender roles.
I think we're gonna put that back up
again. I probably will.
Put that back up.
But don't get stuck in that. So when they do that, just stop for a moment and thank them for doing it.
Yeah.
I need you to understand what that does for your spouse when they know that what they do for you is appreciated.
Yeah, and you're grateful.
And they're grateful for it. And once again, it goes down to being intentional mm-hmm. about it. Be intentional about making sure that your spouse knows mm-hmm. that they're appreciated.
Yeah.
Because what happens is once a person stops being appreciated mm-hmm. or once they feel as though they're not being appreciated, mm-hmm. they start looking for different sources of appreciation.
Yeah, and they stop doing the things that they do.
Exactly, because
he don't help around the house. He used to back in the day, but you didn't.
until you took it for granted.
She used to back in the day, but you didn't, and we're evolving and growing, because here's the thing. It says, she also said, being intentional in your relationship means, I really like this stuff. She said, being intentional in your relationship means regularly thinking about what the relationship needs to function better and ultimately grow, and then actually taking concrete steps now to make that happen before issues arise. You're making it a priority. Why can't I say that word?
Priority.
Thank you. Instead of an afterthought. That's good.
Yeah.
That was real good. Especially the fact that she's saying that you intentional in your relationship means regularly thinking about the relationship needs to function better and ultimately grow. And I think not waiting until your back is, well, first of all, this is not what you do. But in the midst of even the good, you say, you know what, we can grow, baby. What can we do better? How can we be more intentional with each other before you start going farther and farther away from each other?
Yeah.
So I think that is so good. I was like, that's really, really good. That's
for
good.
me, what stuck out and within that particular section was the last word, afterthought.
Afterthought.
I think what happens is that as married couples, or even if you've been in any type of relationship for an extended period of time, what you do, what that person does for you starts becoming an afterthought.
Yeah.
Or what you do for them starts becoming an afterthought, because now you're stuck in a routine. This is just life. Now we're just doing life.
Yeah.
And
taking it for granted again.
Yeah, you're taking it for granted. And that's something that you have to be very careful about, because people know when they're an afterthought to you.
Yeah.
And you wonder why they're not as affectionate as they used to be.
Yeah.
Or you wonder why they don't smile the way they used to smile, or they don't say some of the things they used to say.
Right.
And like I said, it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
It goes
Absolutely.
for male and females. Is that because after a while, I know, and we don't do it intentional all the time. But I know that when you're doing something for me, or when we're having a conversation, it's really an afterthought to you because your mind is somewhere else, or you're focused on something else.
Right.
And that hurts.
Yeah.
Because what I'm supposed to be is the most important.
Right.
Because in all honesty, marriage is real, and you can disagree with this all you want to, but do the research on it. It's in the Bible. Look it up.
Look it up.
Look it up. Your marriage is supposed to be God, your marriage, everything else. That's the way it's supposed to be. Not God, kids marriage, not God's job marriage, not God, his mother, her mother marriage. It's not supposed to be that way.
And the reason why is God, marriage, and kids, because once you're a united front, once you're working together, everything that's under that, children and everything else, will benefit, right?
Right.
Because God is pouring into you and restoring you both and pulling you together, and you're working hard to make sure that everything that you do be a blessing and overflow to everything after.
Right.
So it's hard to put the kids before your marriage, because at that point you're so busy taking care of the kids that you're not even working on your marriage. So there's no pouring into the children and showing them what love look like and
what honor
dedication, honor, and communication look like, because you're giving all your time to them, so they don't get the chance to see the parents do what they do, the work basically. So it's God and then the parents and then everything after, and they benefit from the overflow of that.
They do. And also just being intentional about honor.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we're lacking too in our society. It's honor.
Yeah.
There's a lack of honor.
Yeah.
Honoring one another.
Yeah.
Honoring marriage, honoring the relationship, honoring God.
Yeah.
There is such a lack of honor.
Yeah.
That it's like the Western civilization just totally abandoned the concept of honor. We rather tear down, we rather talk about
Than honor.
we rather talk about what you did bad
Yeah.
than what you've done well.
Yeah.
And
even if the what you done well list is long.
Is long.
Longer than the bad list.
Yeah. Your well list is 13 pages. Your bad list is half a paragraph.
And they got
we gonna run that half a paragraph
to the ground.
To the ground. Resurrect it and run it back into the ground.
And remind you of it.
And that's what we do in our and that's what we do in our marriage.
Yeah.
We are so quick to tell our spouse sometimes what they're doing wrong.
Right.
Or what displeases you when it comes to your spouse.
Yeah.
But why are we not as quick to honor our spouse and say, babe, thank you.
Yeah.
Just thank you I know you worked yesterday. I know that you had a hard day at work. I know that your job got on your nerves. But even with that, you still took the time to take care of me.
Yeah.
You still took the time to make sure I ate. You still took the time to make dinner. You still took the time to clean the kitchen. Whatever it is.
Right.
And just take the time to honor. Because you got to understand, nobody likes hearing negative all the time. Nobody likes hearing what they're doing wrong all the time.
Yeah. But again, it goes back like she said, when she said here, intentional means doing the mental work, aka. So you have to do the mental work for this, right? To be intentional in your relationship, in your marriage, you have got to do the work. You have got to do the mental work that it takes for you to be able to do that, right? And I think that that's what we need to understand. Even for us, we have to be intentional in our conversations and what we have with each other, and make sure that one thing for us that we've been really, really working on is, as far as communication is concerned, is to be intentional that we're not having surface conversations.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to talk about the children, because we I think we went out to dinner.
It was our anniversary weekend.
And
I had to set down ground rules. And I said,
this is his intent.
That because I want to have a conversation with my best friend, with my wife, here are the topics that are off limits.
He was intentional about this thing too.
Kids, finances, family, job.
Yep.
That's the four
Could
topics.
Not talk about it.
That no matter, we could talk about anything else in the world, but those 4 topics, because those are the 4 topics we talk about on a daily basis. Those are the 4 topics we talk about all the time. We talk about the kids, we talk about family, we talk, and not necessarily our core family. We're talking about our mothers, fathers, cousins, family.
Right.
Finances, and what was the other one? I said, what is it? And jobs.
And job. I said you can't talk about your job, you can't talk about the kids, you can't talk about family, and you can't talk about finances. And he came with an intentional list. We're gonna have a good time, and those things we could be having a good time. The moment we talk about one of those 4 things, it goes downhill.
It goes downhill.
So his intent was that we weren't gonna discuss it because we're gonna have an amazing time Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah, and Monday.
And we could not do any of that. And it was refreshing because with that being in mind, and he already gave me the intention of what we were going to do, and his intent was for us to have a good time. We did, because we talked about things that we dreamed about. We talked about shows.
Yeah.
We talked about so much stuff.
Just so much stuff.
Not realizing that we could have a conversation without talking about the kids or finances or family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was incredible. So you have to be intentional, guys. Plan.
You have to be.
Plan.
And understand, not having a conversation about the kids does not mean you love them any less.
Right.
Does not mean that you don't care about them. Does not mean that they're not important.
Right.
It just means, and when I say this is a harder concept for, I think, for mothers to understand than it is for fathers. When I say this,
let me hear it, player.
Your kids are going to leave. Your entire life cannot be surrounded around your kids.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think not is that part. Of course I know that. We've been saying that for years, because I didn't want to wake up to a stranger, so I had to make sure we knew each other. But yeah, I can see, because we're nurturers, but there's some dads that can't handle that either. There's some dads can't handle it.
In this particular conversation, we're going to talk about in general terms. It's more the mothers who, the concept of my baby leaving is so foreign to them.
But your baby 30.
Yeah. And here's
your baby 30.
And here's the
baby
thing.
should have been gone.
Yeah.
Baby should have been gone.
That failure to launch syndrome.
Yes, that failure to launch syndrome.
But here's the thing. And
did you just say that?
Yeah, no, it's a real thing.
Okay, I'm just saying.
No, I'm serious. It's a real thing. It's failure to launch.
I feel like you was about to say I'm dead A.
Actually, I was going to say that earlier, but then I remember this is a Christian podcast, and I didn't want to do that. But actually, when we were talking earlier, I was going to say that. But you have to understand, you have to be intentional about growing your marriage, and you have to be intentional about where your marriage is how your marriage is going to look in 10 and 15 years, because you're setting the foundation now of what your marriage is going to be like. Yes, there's going to be some shifts. Yes, there's going to be some changes, but the core essence of what your marriage is going to be in 10 to 15 years, you can't wait to 10 to 15 years from now to set that foundation. You got to start working on it now.
Planning and tilling the land now.
If your entire focus, if your entire life is surrounded about your kids, and yes, they need love. Yes, you have to nourish them. Yes, I'm not saying don't love your kids. I'm not saying don't take care of your kids. I'm not saying don't raise your kids. It's not what I'm saying at all. So please don't hear what I'm not saying. But what I'm saying, your entire life cannot be devoted to that task.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that when you devote your entire life to a single task, you start missing out on everything else that's around you.
Things
and now
fall through the cracks.
In 10 or 15 years, when little Johnny has went out and got a little girlfriend, and now he's off to college, and now he's going, and he don't know you like that no more. And you're not talking to him every day like you used to, 3 or 4 times a day. Now you turn around and you're looking at Big Johnny, and now you realize you don't even know who Big Johnny is anymore.
Should he be here? Should he be in the house right now? Should Big Johnny? Do I still want to be with Big Johnny? And I think that's something else she said too. She said, which I guess this would be I don't know if it'll be my final thought. All
right, let's run with it. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what it says. But she did says, you won't have you.
She did says.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna read the whole thing. Instead of waking up one day and wondering how did my relationship get here, which basically, like I was saying, I've always never want to wake up and be like, who is this person? I didn't want to be married to a stranger,
right?
Or how do we fix this? And I didn't want to be where now we need to fix something that we should have fixed that might be so hardcore in us that it's unfixable,
right?
Because we've held on and harvested for so long. You're proactively nurturing your relationship so that serious challenges are less likely to appear or less likely to be significant threat to your relationship when they do. As Andre put it, you won't have to worry about the grass being greener on the other side if you're intentional about watering your own on a schedule.
I love that.
That's so cool.
Do me a favor, say that last part again.
It says, you won't have to worry about the grass being greener on the other side if you're intentional about watering your own on a schedule.
I love that.
And I like that.
That's powerful.
And the reason why I like that, because when you schedule to water your yard, your grass stays beautiful and flourish. When you just water it every now and then or happenstance or when you feel like it, it begins to get dry and it begins to die.
Right.
And I just love the fact that again, I know this is a new season to pivot, but a lot of things that you want to do in your relationship, you're going to have to plan and be really intentional about getting away with each other for the weekend, going and doing something fun. These are things that you need to be intentional about to bring you guys closer. And even when you have those, conversations that you know what you're getting into when you have them, and be intentional about that so you can grow and flourish your relationship.
Oh yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So was that your final thought?
I think that's going to be my final thought. How do you feel about it?
Nah, I think that was a great final thought.
Did it make sense?
It made perfect sense.
We crack each other up. We do that on purpose. Like, did it make sense?
Well,
but anyway.
I do it because I want to make sure, because I know sometimes my mind gets lost in my thought. I want to make sure that what I'm saying makes sense. Yeah.
You be lost in your thoughts.
Lost in my thoughts.
Go ahead. Carry on, my love.
So my final thought, it's going to be simple. I'm going to keep it simple.
You cracked me up with this.
Saying it's going to keep it simple.
It's going to be simple.
It really is.
Carry on, my love.
My final thought is I'm going to talk to my dudes.
Talk to the
dudes.
My
guy.
My guys.
My guy.
My guys.
I didn't say my guys. I said my guy.
My guy.
I'm going to hit you in the head with my microphone.
Carry on, my brother.
Family, you're going to hear a thump. So, my guy, listen to me really quick. Stop taking her for granted. You love her. She is your world. She is your best friend. Mm-hmm. But you're losing her because you're taking her for granted. That's something that's changeable. You can change that. It's fixable. You're not too far gone. Here's how I know you're not too far gone. Because she's still there. Mm-hmm. You still wake up next to her. Mm-hmm. She's still in the home. So it's not too far gone. So that means she hasn't given up just yet.
Right. Absolutely.
So you have to be intentional about it. You have to be intentional about showing her how much she means to you. You have to be intentional. I know your heart hurts. I know you're scared. I know that you're scared about what may come next, but that comes from you. You have to be intentional about showing her that the man that she married is still you.
Yeah.
The man that she fell in love with is still you. The man that she's choosing to be with is still you.
Yeah.
But you just have to be intentional about showing her that again.
Yeah.
That's going to be my final thought.
I have something to say because you said showing.
What's up?
And I would say for my ladies, hey girls, what's up, sweeties? We have to show up. And I say that because when our spouses or significant others come to us, we don't always show up because we're thinking about the garbage, the kitchen, the kids, and school, your jobs, your careers, your entrepreneurship, your whatever those things that you do well at. So you do well, but you have to show up for him too. You have to show up when he needs you. So that means it may be intentional, like the kids going to bed early. Or it may be intentional. I just made a got a hotel for us, but you have got to show up in your mind, and it's not the physical show up that I'm talking about. In your mind, show up without the to-do list, and I think that's important too, because that used to be me. I was physically there, but I didn't show up for him, because as he's talking, I'm like, okay, so the kids and somebody called me, and then I got to do this. But did I make this doctor's appointment? And then what time is it? Oh man, I gotta cook. So as he's talking to me, I'm physically there, but I wasn't showing up mentally. Right. You know, and I need you guys to be intentional about showing up, about saying, you know what? Forget it, scrap it. When he comes home, I am all his, even if it's for an hour. And that means getting the kids together, let them know, hey, go watch some TV. Hey, go in the room. Hey, or we need to go out. Let's go on a random Wednesday or Taco Tuesday. Go to Taco Tuesday and say, hey, I'm going to give you my undivided attention. And be like Sanchez said, we can't talk about kids. We can't talk about jobs. We can't talk about any of those things. We're just going to talk about us, our dreams, our aspirations. And it could just be cheesy stuff that you talk about. But show up. Like, he needs to show that he cares. You need to show up for him when he does. Right. So yeah, that's where I am with that.
All right, I think that's a really good place to start.
Yes, we are.
So family, we thank you for listening.
Thank you.
However you're listening, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon Music, whether it's Google Podcasts, whether it's iHeartRadio, or on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com. As always, family, we consider ourselves an interactive podcast, which means we can be found on the socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, all in the Crenshaw Corner.
Yes.
And of course, you can email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com.
I like it.
And family, we are on the YouTubes.
The tubes.
We're on the tubes of you.
We are.
So please go to the channel. The Crenshaw Corner is the channel on YouTube. Watch some of the videos. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Click the notification bell so you can be updated.
Words are hard. Words are hard right now.
So you can be updated on when we upload a new video.
Yes.
And family, as always, welcome to our journey.
We love you guys. Bye.